presentation. Okay, so good afternoon, class. We're going to start with housekeeping. So we clarify topics and doubts that you might have until your classmates connect to work. Remember, we are always working towards finishing working class. I'll give you time so that then you don't have extra work. There is another issue that I didn't include in the PPT, but it's the invitation to participate in workshops with two professors who are native speakers, a professor from the United States, Nicholas Birch, and a professor from Ireland. Did you receive that email from Mrs. Jocelyn?
Yes.
All right, so what we will do is to read again, and please, I need you to participate in the Google Forms by answering and the Google Forms because we need to inform our director, Professor Mauricio Vélez, about this topic. Yeah, so it is important that we have all of your participation. So that is what we are going to check also later after one of the breaks or in the middle of group work, so that most of you can answer to that email. The email is called Talleres de Inglés, and I know it's an extra workshop for you, but the school is worried that you have as many opportunities as possible to practice the language. So this is the email you should have received. And, oh, sorry, I need to close here because dogs seem to be crazy. Okay. So you should have received this email and this link. So this is a link I'm going to share when we are all together so that you can complete and we can have those answers. As I said, we are required this, we have been required this information from Professor Mauricio Vélez, the school director. All right, so please text your classmates that they can finish lunch and connect. You can always share some food while we are working. That's not a problem. Okay, so we go back to our presentation. As you know, we you have to keep paying attention to communication via educandos. Okay, yes. So Catalina has a question. We keep going with participation. Well, we have already explained about forums, tasks. Task 3 needs to be, we finished, I think, task 3. And today we need to finish task 4, and the section is another section that I added to task 4 to clarify some issues. Okay, so those go in the resources created as tasks. And then there will always be some forums there to comment on the activities specifically. Okay. Okay, so this is week 6 in our module. We keep on going quickly. And you will see the schedule, what is coming. So participation in forums, in uploading tasks, that's personal, that's individual work. You're supposed to be doing this to receive a grade, so a percentage of the final grade. And we are working towards finishing the class plan. That's why I am so concerned that your groups are working in class and we discuss and you show me and I can give you feedback. This will be the final version for the 12th of October, and micro teaching for the 19th, the following week. So these two are coming, plus the midterm portfolio revision, which will be also due in that week, the week of this week, the 12th, which is week number 9. Yes, it is here. So in week 9, we will have several issues, all of them positive, I think. The micro teaching section, but for that you have already had lots of feedback on your lesson plan, so that would be just to practice an activity online. The midterm formative assessment, the portfolio will be due with all of the tasks completed up to that moment. Week 9, remember we are in week 6, so we have these weeks to work, and we have the spring games that Friday. So children are, so parents are enrolling their children. Communications are sent every week to schools, to mentor teachers that worked with us last semester. So we are reaching out to all of the contacts we have in schools. So hopefully we will have a nice group of kids as we had in June, hopefully. And this is an important task for us as as we are also members of the community, and this is a way to give back to our community, to our school community. So every week I show you this schedule, so you have it in your heads, you concentrate on the work. Moreover, since next week and week 8, I will be giving you feedback for the final shape of your lesson plan, okay, project class plan. So please pay attention to that. As a summary of the tasks, so we have had task 1, task 2, task 3, that we finished last week. We finished that. I will start checking and giving you your credits for having uploaded them. And task 4 is the one we need to finish, and it has like different sections. Because I was planning, I was commenting with Catalina, I was thinking of task 5, but I said, no, task 5 is a different task. I need to add to an old task. So the original task is task 4 that we will finish. Task 4B is the reading section. Task 4C is what we will discuss today about the different subsections within the introduction section of a class. So everything belongs together, and that's why they are all with the same number and with a different code. Okay, so this will stay also. You will have this summary of tasks to have in mind in order to complete your portfolio so far. Yes, the for midterm portfolio and your lesson plan, the lesson plan you are preparing. Okay. So spring game is coming. We are working hard with mentor teachers, school authorities. So everyone is involved in getting participants for the spring game. So hopefully we will have a nice group of kids. Okay, any questions in regards evaluations and the work done so far? So I think this is what you need to bear in mind, that every week we are working towards accomplishing a step and getting nearer these moments of evaluation that we have in midterm. So, this is right midterm, yes, weeks 8 and 9. And from then on, we have the second section of the module. Yes. So, any questions? So we were in, where were we? Yes, the schedule. Bear in mind, yes. Modules, evaluations, schedule. Okay. All right, so revision, the integration of skills. This was the last task. You were working with this task last week. Thinking of completing this class plan. Yes, and we have been working together in different sections. It has lots of details, as you could see. The lesson plan in itself has lots of details. We are going to focus on the most important ones. Remember, this is still a class plan as a project. Yes, just as in a little bit in the vacuum. Remember, we do not have real students. We are learning to plan. So there are lots of different details that we might not need at this point. However, we're going to concentrate on the most important items. Since next semester, for English practicum, you will be going back to this lesson plan with real kids, real classrooms, real classes. So, okay. Next, so this was the post-reading, post-watching activities in the last task, the design of an integrated activity, an introductory activity. Today we're going to go into parts of this introductory activity so that you have more ideas and you can discuss also with your classmates so that you can finally decide on this activity and go forward. Yes. Move forward. Yes, that's what we need to do today. And it will include integration of activities. Remember, at the least we were saying, depending on the levels, but reading, we were talking about listening, speaking, and probably reading or probably writing. That is already a level of integration, yes, because you became anxious that we need to include all of the activities. Okay, step by step. We organized the warm-up that was based on listening and speaking. So we can add one more of the skills in one of the sections of the introduction, and we are in this process of integrating skills. So do not worry, don't get anxious. We will work on this today. But first of all, we are going to revise what we were doing in the lesson plan. So here in the lesson plan, you have the little arrows, everything that we were finding in the, all of the information that we found in the bases curriculares. We found the grade, the learning outcome, como objetivo final, learning outcomes. There are attitudinal outcomes as well. Están en las bases curriculares los objetivos actitudinales. The skills that you can find also there, the unit name, the key concepts, the theme, the main theme. Remember here the main theme, speaking about el gran tema de esta unidad que ustedes encontraron. So you found food, I don't know, parts of the house, what's the other? School supplements or something like professions, parts of the house. Okay, so far so good. Yes, today we're going to concentrate. Do not worry, there are lots of details here, finishing time, starting time. We're not concerned about that. Yes, when you have your real classrooms, then you will have these limits here, but pay attention, let us pay attention to the sections here, and then we will be able to complete that. So we will go here to the learning outcome. So we have el OA. Recuerden que estos objetivos de aprendizaje son bien amplios, ¿sí? En las bases curriculares engloban muchos aprendizajes, pero nosotros tenemos que concentrarnos, ya lo habíamos visto el semestre pasado, en los objetivos de aprendizaje de lengua. Yes? Learning objective in order to learn English. And these objectives need to be thought, developed by you on the basis of the general learning outcome here. So we will concentrate again on the same parts of the objectives that we worked with last semester. Yes, so we were always thinking of vocabulary verbs that were verbs of action. Yes, the function, so identify, recognize, we will see the verbs again. And the content that you're teaching, whether it is food, professions, parts of the house, school supplements, and a grammar pattern, whether it is vocabulary or a grammar structure. Okay, so we need to work more on these objectives because the other ones are taken from the bases curriculares. So we will work on this learning objective, language learning objective. Since we need this in order to also focus on which kind of activities we are going to design for this introduction. Okay, so last semester we revised this slide in which we were told which kind of verbs we could use with the objectives. So they needed to indicate observable behavior. Not all of the verbs are verbs of action, are verbs that imply an action that I can observe. And we were talking also about verbs of action with a passive voice, remember. So which verbs we could use and which verbs we couldn't use. Yes, so verbs that do not produce a behavior that I can see. So for example, verbs refer to mental actions like understand, appreciate, like, in such a case, enjoy, know, learn, or perceive are verbs of mental activity I cannot see exactly in an observable behavior. But I can see when students identify something, present, describe, explain, demonstrate, or analyze. Recognize as well, which is at the level of identify. So you have these verbs. So just by thinking, is this verb an action that I can see? I can see this action being performed, then I can use it. If it's an internal verb, that means an internal process like appreciate, know, learn, then this is an internal action I cannot see immediately in a behavior. So we practiced with some examples, and then you will practice with your own examples in groups. Okay, so we practiced some examples last semester. For example, describe. Yes, describe. This is a class in which we do some work, some curricular work with science. Yes. And so the function, yes, the function is the verb of action, describe. Is that okay? Yes, it's a verb of action. So I can see a person describing. What content? Which is the content? The 3 states of water. Excellent, that's a content. And which elements of language from English language? So using the present simple. So here we will have sentences like water melts at such and such a degree, water freezes at such and such a degrees. Yeah, so verbs, sentences in the present simple. Describing, yes, this routine of the water that changes status according to temperature, for example, yes. Then we can also have present the members of your family. Present is something I can see. Yes, it's a verb I can see. I can see the action of presenting. So present members of the family, that's the content, by using vocabulary words related to family members, orally and in writing. So we could also add here the skills to be practiced. So now, going back to your own lesson plans, which will be an example that you could tell me. Yeah, so you will work with your groups in your lesson plans. But for example, if we had to practice one example, now you will start working with your groups, but one example with the verb identify. Identify is the verb I can use. Yes, perfect. So identify. Which topic? Any example of your lesson plan? Any of the examples is
Healthy
okay.
food.
Food, Identify healthy food, excellent. Healthy food. Yes. No. Yes, identify healthy food using some kind of structure or vocabulary in English.
Identify healthy food. Through listening activities. ¿El listening activities puede ir dentro de un objetivo?
Yes, listening, but at the end, what are we going to focus on this listening? Are we going to focus on vocabulary or on grammar?
Vocabulary.
Vocabulary, yes. So by identifying vocabulary, I need ing, identifying vocabulary, yes. Vocabulary in a listening activity. Yes, perfect. Perfect, so I have all of the sections. So the verb, the topic, the content, verb of action, content, and the lexicon or grammar topic. Okay, excellent. So Catalina has an objective. Another objective, any other of the groups? Vanessa?
No entendí, sí, o sea, identify healthy food by identify vocabulary.
Identifying, yes, or recognizing, it could also be.
Identificar la comienzo la obra reconociendo.
Specific vocabulary. Yes, so you will be teaching vocabulary here. Yes, so you're focusing on vocabulary. So we'll change the color. So this is function, yes, the verb, the topic, and then which element of the language, of English language, I am going to teach. So Vanessa, which is your top? So you can think of one verb of action.
Describe could be. Describe the favorite animal or describe animals. ¿Cómo se dice mamífero?
Mammals.
Mammals.
Yes, okay. So describe mammals. It can be that specific kind of animal, yes?
Yeah.
So describe mammals.
Animals.
Yes, mammals, mamíferos. Describe mammals.
¿Y qué otro verbo había?
No, we have only this verb. So we need now the element of grammar or vocabulary.
I think could be vocabulary because we are not grammar.
By using specific vocabulary.
Like I think that they must repeat the name of the animal and they could write it and say it. I don't know.
So probably the verb could be changed, Vanessa. On a second thought, Vanessa says.
Es que no sé, profe, porque no depende de mí nomás, porque también está la pausa, entonces no sé.
Yes, recognize mammals by using specific vocabulary in listening and writing. just giving you examples, okay?
Okay.
All right, yes. So we need you to come to some conclusions, yes, in listening and writing. Then you can also talk to your classmates, but today okay, so we changed the font, okay.
But I have a question.
Yes, question?
You said that in our lesson plan, we must put something about listening, writing, speaking, and reading.
Yes.
We
Yes.
must put all of them or just what we want to put.
So remember, we are integrating the skills. Yes, we are integrating skills, but we can go step by step. So for example, in the warm-up, I can have 2 of the skills, and then I can also include other skills for another section of the introduction. And then in the development of the class, I can integrate all the other skills. So the idea is that you can concentrate on as many skills as possible, not pressing, because if they're too young or first grade, you will probably concentrate more on not writing specifically, but at the least 2 of the skills. Remember, we are thinking of complete classes, and we saw last week the benefits of integrating skills, because if I separate the skills, then it's not a realistic use of the language. Mostly thinking of that, yes, in listening and writing. So at this step, students are really working towards recognizing this vocabulary, yes, in general. Okay, remember these are verbs that are at a very low level of Bloom's taxonomy. They are verbs of action that you will use with students at a very introductory level, yes. Whereas describe, present, explain are verbs that develop other abilities in learners at a more advanced level. Yes, not at an introductory level, but probably at an intermediate level of development. That can be, for example, with 5th graders. Some of you, Phoebe, it was you who had an objective for a lesson plan for 5th graders.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Your lesson plan was for 5th graders. Which grade were you planning for?
Second.
Second, okay. Was anyone planning for 5th grade? Or I remember I have the wrong memory. Okay, you will tell me. Anyway, now you will work with your groups. So go back to the groups, go back to the objectives you were thinking, the objectives from the curriculum, how you can use it to write a good learning objective. Probably it's a little bit more than just identify and recognize. Yes, probably. Think that I will share with you Bloom's taxonomy verbs. I have one that we shared with students in 3rd year, in which you have, according to the steps, according to the levels of not only proficiency, but also critical thinking that your students can reach. Yes, so probably yes, 1st, 2nd grade are at the level of identifying, recognizing, categorizing. But then as you go up, your students can do much more. They can present, they can describe, or explain, thinking of the older ones. So I will go group by group, thinking with you, guiding you in which language lessons, objectives you can write. Okay, so the groups were working. So first group work. You will take advantage to go, Krishna is coming, good news. We can take some time to go to the toilet, to the restroom. And in 10 minutes, we meet again to do this work with objectives. Okay, we will record this. this list of measurable verbs contains verbs of knowledge. This is the very basic things that our students will do. Yes, identify, those recognize, name, relate, repeat. Yes, for example, Vanessa was saying something about repeating words. Then we have another group of verbs that indicate more comprehension. Yes, when they describe, explain, so that's another level. Then application is when they do something. Yes, demonstrate, that was in our list. Construct, dramatize, interpret. Then when they analyze, this was in our list as well, that's above. That's above in the hierarchy. Then when they synthesize, compose, when they write, think of higher levels, grades can do this. They, for example, what you do as well. You summarize, you write, you compose, you create, you design an activity. So you're doing this, as you can see, you're at this level. And then evaluation is the highest level. But this handout is very complete since you have here the definition, the verbs. Again, another group of verbs, and here the questions and the verbs according to different levels of critical thinking. Remember when we were talking about the questions can be also at different levels of critical thinking. And finally, the assessment types or activity types that you can do at different levels. So at the level of knowledge, the very basic level, what can you do with your students? So they can read, they can memorize newspapers or identify words in newspapers, in recordings, in listening, comprehension activities. They can recognize people, they can listen to radio, to text, or they can read at that level. And they can do all of these activities in according to this in these settings. But if you go to comprehension, then they can do something else. Yes, they can diagram. Yes, they can do a graphic organizer or an infographic, for example, or a cartoon or a summary. So here you have lots of, so the relationship between that level of critical thinking, the verb you're going to use for your objective, and the activities they can do. So I think this handout is very complete. I'm going to share it with you. You have also the link in the PPT. I will share the link with you, and you can work in your groups. So I will go again, group by group, giving you feedback and supporting your work. Okay, perfect. We will revise again the language learning objective. We will revise again that PPT. Okay. And then you keep on thinking. Yeah, some groups could find out the verbs and the objective. Okay. So here we are, Catalina. We have here the verbs you have already in your handout by Bloom. You have the verbs that you can use at different levels. And here we can share the organization of the objective. Yes, we have functions. Yes, functions, meaningful content. That means the content that you're teaching, and the English language topic. So if it is vocabulary or grammar.
Teacher, but
so Catalina, can you share yours so we can see your which one?
Ok, es que lo que estábamos hablando en delante era que los niños van a poder expresar qué cosa, el disgusto cuando se usa el I like it, I don't like. Tenemos disgusto de la comida o simplemente comida.
No, they are expressing likes and dislikes.
Pero se pone express o expressing.
Ah, no, express, también. Express likes and dislikes about food Okay, that's the topic. Okay, that's the content. Yes. By repeating or by using the structure. Which are the structures?
Es que, a ver, utilizando la estructura, pero solamente utilizando la estructura porque igual para que los niños recuerden o para presentarle el tema de la comida que ellos van a utilizar en la clase de hoy, van a ver un video, entonces igual vamos como a decir, ya, pizza significa pizza.
No, claro, vocabulary. Yes, you need to, that's part of your introduction, part of the content they're going to see.
Pero eso
and
no
revise.
es
But then
necesario
you focus on that the rest of the class for them is apart from having the vocabulary, they will express likes and dislikes.
ya.
Structures, using structures.
Entonces sería, by using the structure.
I like, I don't like.
Ya. Using the structure, I like, I don't like. O sea, que no importa de que al principio le presentemos como ya la comida, ¿qué es la comida? Bla, bla, le presentamos lista y luego el enfoque va a ser que ellos aprendan a decir I like pizza, I don't like.
Yes, exactly. That would be the learning objective, the English language learning objective.
Pero si el objetivo es, pero express va relacionado con demostrar, ¿verdad?
Yes, demostrar, escuchar y demostrar. Okay, so you have, yes, so you have, escuchar, yes, you receive information, yes, by listening, but then you need to demonstrate your understanding by speaking, yes. But it can also be writing. Yes, I was also talking to Phoebe. So express, demonstrate comprehension can be by speaking and by writing. So there you can also include another skill. Do you see? Yes, this is listening, speaking, and it can also be writing. All of these skills can be included. Yes. Explicit information.
Voy a notar algo así como porque igual después más adelante hay que poner como una actividad de cierre.
Sí, después de cierre. Yes, we have all of this. And now we will concentrate on the introduction. Okay, excellent. Any other example that you want to share so we discuss the verbs and the words? If you're ready with this, we can continue with the other activities. So thinking of this part of the task 4C, as I was explaining at the beginning, so that we reflect on the sections of the class and the subsections, different elements that compose a section. This introductory section, moreover, which is more complex at this point. Okay, any other? Okay, so if you're clear and you have lots of examples there in the PPT, you can also continue working. If not, I will give you feedback next week as well. Okay, so this is process writing. Okay, so we will apply communicative methodologies. Remember, we are preparing this lesson plan, and we will design and implement strategies for teaching and learning. Okay, so again, we will have group work. And I was thinking since last night about different lesson templates. So you have a lesson template. Sería este modelo que nosotros tenemos para planificar. Okay? And there are different lesson templates. Yes. But we will work with the lesson template we have and think of the different moments of the class. According to your template, yes, template sería el formato, ¿verdad? According to your template, we have different moments in the class. Yes, and they are, which are these moments of the class? Which will be the first one? You have it in your the lesson plan.
The beginning?
The beginning, the introduction, yes, the beginning of the class. Or class introduction can also be.
Development. There are three and closure. Closure?
Yes. Class development. Yes. Development and class closure. Okay. We will delete some of this. Okay. But I want it to be another color. No. I am adding. Okay. Class development, class closure. Class closure. So once we have the beginning, yes, we have the objectives and the beginning, then we can continue with class development and closure. But they have different subsections, we can say, within them. And that is what we need to focus now, yes? So that the beginning or introduction of the class has certain subsections that they are connected. Of course, they need to be organic, yes, and related to the objectives we have chosen. So according to your template, your lesson plan template, which is the one element of the class introduction?
Vocabulary.
In the template, look at your templates. Fíjense en el formato, in your lesson plan format.
Okay.
How? What?
In the lesson plan, check the lesson plan. Which are the, the lesson plan, go back to the lesson plan and check which are the subsections in the beginning or the introduction to the class.
Previous knowledge activation.
Yes, previous knowledge activation. Is that the one? No, I don't think it's that one. I think you have
The rules?
something else. Presentation of objectives. Yes, okay. So it's there, it's written there. Yes, so presentation of objectives. Yes, you will do this very quickly and you will see also that teachers do this you can observe this in classes. They do this, they present, they introduce the objectives. And today we're going to learn. So these objectives we were discussing, yes? The objective, the language learning objective will be express likes and dislikes. Yes, the English language objectives will be here as well. Of outcomes and language objectives. Language objectives. Yes. Next one. Here we have to add, I think. Here we have one more. Another subsection.
The rules, the number,
class rules. In the lesson plan. Normative and procedures. Yes, class rules. Excellent. So you see also when you observe some teachers say, well, in this class, you need to, yes, class procedures and rules. So you will take, so you will work with your book and your pencil, color pencils. You will work with a piece of paper, with some materials. And you will listen to the teacher, raise your hand. And if it is online, you keep your microphones off and so on and so forth. So the rules of the class. Normative, sorry. Normative, it says something. Sí, normativas, las reglas. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay, next subsection.
Motivation.
Motivation, yes. Oh. What did I do? Sorry, I was not supposed to do that. Yes, motivation. So motivation, remember, we need to motivate our students to be willing to participate in the class, in develop this content that we want to develop with them. But before motivation, we have something else. Go back to the lesson plan. Not motivation yet. Remember, we need to get the students in contact with English. Well, how do I get students in contact with English? We saw this 2 weeks ago.
Students in contact.
It is there. It is in the lesson plan. It's in order.
Sí, sí, es que, dice,
Está en orden. No hay nada.
presentation of learning outcomes, establish working normative and procedures.
And then
Open, warm up.
warm up. Yeah. Warm up.
No pensé que tenía que ir en orden, por eso lo decía.
Okay, yes, okay, yes. Sorry about that. In order, yes, warm up. And we were talking and you were thinking, do you remember 2 weeks ago, your warm up activities? Now I give you some resources in this new section of the task in which you can see other warm ups. Yes, just to keep, connect your students to English. Help them start thinking in English, change what they were doing before, yes, and start thinking in English. Remember, this is very much appreciated in classes, in foreign language classes, since our students are not exposed to this foreign language outside of the classroom, yes. Warm up, yes. And then in order, what comes next? So you have some idea of warm-ups you're going to use. So you have some printing, so you have some reading resources and some videos to help you think, oh, I don't like my warm-up, I will do something else. And that will be okay. That is something you need to plan. Next, number 4. In order. According to the lesson plan?
Previous
Previous knowledge. Yes, previous knowledge. We need to revise. What do they know from before? Yes, previous knowledge about the topic we're going to develop. Yes, previous knowledge. Previous knowledge. And after previous knowledge, what comes after?
After previous knowledge. Pero que dice, class opening, warm up elements,
motivation.
previous.
Previous knowledge and? Yes?
La Gise creo que lo dijo.
Motivation.
Motivation, yes. So now that we have put our students in contact with the language, we know if they know something from before. Yes, we know about their previous knowledge. Now we motivate them to doing the activities and getting in contact with this new knowledge that we want them to develop in the class. Okay, so this is the logic. There are different options. Some teachers, you will see other lesson plans that do not have so many elements or do some things differently, but just to come to an agreement in our career with the rest of the modules, we came to an agreement that this will be the organization, and it can work. It can work if we are really, if we flow from one activity to the other, giving them connection and logics, yes? So here we establish the rules, and if we work here with vocabulary, I already can be checking what those students know, which is their previous knowledge, and then do an activity in which they will see, oh, this is useful, this is a motivating activity, or I will learn some content that is motivating because it's related to, generally, because it is related to their everyday lives, it's related to their lives, it's relatable to them, so that word relatable, o sea, se relaciona con su vida, or also with other subjects that they do at school. For example, in the case, just thinking when we think of contents like healthy food, that Catalina was mentioning, that is a very motivating topic, just because it relates to everyday life. It relates also to other subjects like science. So you can bring other elements in this motivation stage, so the students will really be interested in what is coming. Or it can be an activity that they are going to do in the future. Yes, for example, some kind of picnic. How can we promote this healthy food learning? Just to organize an activity, a task later on with a picnic at school. Just thinking of something that happened in the Winter Games when I think it was Paola's group was thinking also in teaching and developing the topic of parts of the body, but with this in mind, thinking of a motivating element that would be the acceptance of our own bodies, the care of our bodies, just relating this topic to also to science, to healthy eating, and to inclusion, yes, and to topics of inclusion and acceptance of ourselves and others, yes. So all of these are motivating topics, and remember, we are not isolated in our English module, in our English subject, isolated from the rest of school and the activities going on at school. So we can think of ways to connecting our activities to what's happening in the community, in the school community, and with other subjects. And we can also work with other teachers, with physical education teachers also, for example, in the case of healthy food or healthy eating or body parts. Also the professions, and I was talking to Phoebe, who's doing the professions. That's a social science topic, yes, so it's not only, it does not only belong to English. And animals, of course, to natural science. So you will see those connections. Okay, so here I will share with you this task. You have the activities, the resources to think of warm-up activities and rethink of the warm-up activity you will do. And like in sub-stage 3 within the introduction. Then how you access previous knowledge. You have 2 examples. One is with more speaking, the other has reading and writing. So for you to see that it's not only listening and speaking, but it can be flexible. And motivation activities. Okay, so, and websites that you can consider. So Twinkle is it has a dominion here in Chile. You can register and see the content. Bridge EDU, this is new, and all the old well-known British Council, which has lots of resources for classes. Okay, so what do we have to do? Again, we go back to task 4. What do? We need to design this integrated activity, yes, in which we need necessarily to connect all of these elements. A good warm-up, yes, that puts students already in contact with English and probably with the vocabulary, with certain structures that I want them to, probably it's nothing new, but just some activity that they can relate later to what do they know from before. Remember, our students are not just blank, they have some knowledge. This was very well done also in the examples that we saw with reading aloud, yes, in which teachers took some time to talk to students. What did they know from before? What did they know about different characters, about different situations? So previous knowledge is important. And then what else do we need to, motivation, yes, motivation. So you can, this activity can consist in the presentation of the topic and the vocabulary, which is related there. and also motivation and instructions. Remember that we also need to give specific instructions. Are we missing that section of the lesson plan? Instructions, yes. Sorry, I jumped over giving instructions. So do not worry, just think of, again, the objective needs to be related. Yes, needs to be related. Think of the activities. If you're doing listening and speaking in the warm-up, then you do probably something with writing in the motivation. So it all depends on the content, but rules, instructions. Instructions, that's 6. And so it will depend a lot on the level of your students, the content, yes, and the inclusion of, but that they are related in some way, that they're related, so one thing flows next to the other and it doesn't become too long or too disconnected. Okay, so you know that you have this complete. Okay, we have this complete. So I will share the PPT with you and we will work in groups. Let's take advantage of the time. Yes, so we'll share the PPT with you. There you have the webs and the task. Yes, I will show you the task. So in the PPT, we have our discussions and I will share with you the task 4C, in which you can complete all of the sections we have completed together. Yes, here I need to reduce. I need to reduce this too. Here I need to add. And here we have the resources. So again, this is the repetition for you to think of this introduction as a whole topic. Now that you have your topic, you have your unit, you have the objectives. So you're nearer to having a clearer idea of what you can do in this introduction with all the subsections. Okay, so you discuss in groups. Bien, entonces, so yes, we need to round up and set up the work for next week. We need to finish task 4. Yes, so task 4 includes these activities and the introduction activities and the completion of the lesson plan up to there. Okay, so let me know if you could, what did you see in the resources? Which ideas do you have now for your activity, for your introductory activities? Or any question?
No, with my team, we have just completed the previous knowledge, but aún falta lo que es el motivation.
Okay.
And instructions also we have. Teacher, but I have a question. In presentation, the number 1 es presentar solamente el objetivo de aprendizaje, así como, hola niños, vamos a ver esto,
Yes.
y después empiezan, ya.
Yes, this is only the presentation, learning outcomes, and the learning language objectives. Okay, so, but you have now lots of ideas, so you need to please meet and finish this section of the lesson plan, yes? The introduction, only the introduction, so I can give you feedback and we can continue with something else, with task 5 and more ideas to make your content comprehensible to your students. So we need to progress next week. Therefore, you take the rest of the time. So some more minutes we will have until 5:40 or 20 to 6 to continue discussing even when we have finished the class. So anything you have learned today that is helpful for you?
Moments of the class.
The moments of the class and
Type of activities.
type of activities, yes.
How to make an objective learning.
Yes, how to write, language, learning objectives, yes. Learning objectives, and something you need to continue practicing and writing in your lesson plans. So, keep on working on this introductory section, which I think is the most difficult because the other sections will not be so difficult. In any case, we need to make progress. So, finish or continue working. Continue on the introductory activities, since you have several pieces of your lesson plan, and have something to show me next class, yes, in your lesson plans. And complete as much as you can in your lesson plans for feedback. Yes, for feedback. So please keep working, keep thinking. We need to make progress, and next week this will be finished, and we will have to reflect about more ideas on how to keep instructions in English, communication in English, and making the input comprehensible. So we need to have these activities not ready, but for some draft, ¿sí? Un borrador, so that I can give you feedback and you can continue working. And so now you have the objective, as I said, you have the topic of the class, the language objective, so you can think, and ideas about activities, so you can think more purposefully, ¿sí? Con más propósito, con más objetivos en mente. Okay, so you will have the materials uploaded to Educandos, and we will meet next Tuesday again, early afternoon, so we keep on working and making progress. Remember, we have next week, and in the following week, I have to have the final version, so the final feedback session for your lesson plans. So any questions you would like to ask?
No, at the moment.
Okay, so just keep on thinking and writing, or just writing a draft, some ideas, and that you can check with your classmates, and we will check again together next Tuesday. Yes, I will give you feedback, and you keep on working. So remember, all of our classes is an ongoing process of work on decision making. Okay. Nice to see you, girls. So
See you, teacher.
let me know if you need any other help during the week.
Okay.
See you.
Take
Nice to see
care.
you, girls.
Bye-bye.
Big kiss.
Teacher, oh,
Yes.
if we have any doubts about it, we can ask you, or
Yes, text me,
for
Krishna.
email, or for
You can
WhatsApp?
text me. Yes, text me, Krishna.
Okay.
It's quicker.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, teacher. Take care. See you.
Take care. See you, big kiss.